Tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
Budgeting.
Cost creep. Canadian grocery prices go up again, fueled by pricier produce and sweets.
Try to shop in the smaller stores, buy the same brands.
Plus,
your amount of customers, honestly,
we look into the latest gold rush in Canada and across the world.
It's not just the individual consumers who are doing this, it's central banks.
And
he's simply weaponizing information that is personal to me.
For John to turn around and bring up mental health and bring up issues that she had, that was extremely disappointing.
BC's opposition leader under more fire for comments about a now independent MLA.
Staff had raised an issue of concern about an individual in our caucus.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
By fresh produce, John Hernandez has more from shoppers and experts.
Those were, I think, $1.49 a pound, and in here they would be at least $2.49 a pound.
Peter London doesn't take his dollars for granted. He chooses to shop around for his groceries.
I avoid the big chain stores like the plague for quite a while now and try to shop in the smaller stores, buy the same brands.
And he's not the only one.
Budgeting. Stretching the dollar as much as you can nowadays.
Financial pressures once again driven by price tags at local supermarkets. Statistics Canada says grocery prices are on the rise, up 4% year over year, well above the overall inflation rate of about 2.4%. Fresh produce and sugary goods seeing the biggest increases.
Really, for the last 5 years, there's been this weird thing where food has been increasing at not consistent with CPI, but much higher.
This food researcher is surprised by the latest surge, especially as gas prices have gone down in that same time.
Logistically, what we're doing in supply chains is we are transporting.
But Wiseman says there are other factors at play, including the fallout from seasonal droughts and our exchange rate.
That can have an impact, our weaker dollar, so that things are more expensive and for them, whether they be basic ingredients, whether they be packaging, right?
Meanwhile, local food banks are also feeling the squeeze. In Richmond, needs are rising while donations are harder to come by.
It is a challenging time, not just for our food bank, but food banks across, across the province. It is harder and harder to meet the increasing demand.
A years-long trend that's taking bigger and bigger bites out of household budgets. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
From veggies to precious metals now. As the price of gold continues to climb, many Canadians are scrambling to cash in. Michelle Gasuba has more on the latest gold rush.
It's a busy morning at Canada Gold, a Vancouver gold buyer that normally sees around 40 clients daily. These days, it's not unusual to see 90 or more.
yeah, sheer amount of customers, honestly. I mean, I've been even like helping on desk, and that's not a common thing.
Buyers and sellers here are keen to cash in on sky-high gold prices that have been rising steadily for a year.
If you were to sell something even a couple weeks ago, you're going to be making even more now, and people, with it continuing to go up, they are, selling some of those items just like sitting in drawers.
So what's behind this modern gold rush?
Well, gold and silver have been over generations, over millennia, being the go-to for storing value and wealth over time in times of uncertainty.
That age-old logic, alive and well today, through unprecedented tariffs and global conflict. But it's not just small-time buyers and sellers making moves.
It's central banks, and they are actually purchasing gold in the billions of dollars, and that is really what's driving up the price, and not individuals who are looking for safe havens for their savings.
As banks and people park their wealth in solid assets, the price of silver is climbing too.
I'm selling it right now to actually trade with silver. And I think silver is the next great commodity, and I've been hearing rumors that it's going to go up to like $500 an ounce.
Trying to stay ahead and predict where prices could go next as rock wins over paper. Michelle Gasuba, CBC News, Vancouver.
BC's official opposition leader is facing more criticism for speaking about the mental health of the latest MLA to leave his party. On Monday, Penticton Summerland member Amelia Boltby left the BC Conservative caucus. And as Katie DeRosa reports, John Rustad is now facing even more calls to resign.
Embattled BC Conservative leader John Rustad now facing criticism over how he handled the departure of the latest MLA to leave his party. Penticton Summerland MLA Amelia Boltby, the fifth MLA to either leave or be kicked out of the official opposition in the span of a year. After making reference to concerns about Boltby's health, Rustad was asked directly if he was talking about her mental health.
I had concerns when she's in tears. Staff were telling me that she's very confused.
Boltby says 5 months ago she confided in Rustad that she did seek mental health support while working on a disturbing child abuse case as the party's critic for the Ministry of Children and Families.
He's simply weaponizing information that is personal to me. It's utterly shameful that a man who is trying to be the premier could say something like that when so many British Columbians struggle with their mental health.
Conservative MLAs and party members are saying privately and publicly that Rustad's comments went too far. Asked if he would apologize, Rustad said,
I don't believe I owe her an apology, no. Obviously, emotions are something that is welcome and that all people, and I can tell you something, not just women cry.
But why did you say that then? Why did you say she was crying, she was confused? People are thinking you're stigmatizing someone who came to you privately with mental health issues.
Staff had raised an issue of concern about an individual in our caucus and felt that there needed to be some attention and some support and help, and so we tried to provide that to that individual.
The former head of the BC Conservatives says Rustad should step down.
For John to turn around and bring up mental health and bring up issues that she had, that was extremely disappointing. You're the leader. You need to own that. You're the only reason that people are leaving.
The internal party infighting comes amid a new poll from Abacus data showing the BC Conservatives trailing the governing NDP by 7 percentage points. Rustad, however, says he has no worries about how his party would fare among voters. Katie DeRosa, CBC News, Victoria.
A pedestrian has been killed after a car hit them in South Langley in the morning. It happened around 6:40 a.m. near 264th Street and 0 Avenue, just before the Aldergrove border crossing. Langley RCMP say first responders tried to save the victim's life, but the pedestrian died at the scene. The driver was not hurt and is said to be cooperating with police. The Aldergrove crossing was closed for several hours in the day. Whale enthusiasts have captured photos of the humpback whale hit by a hollow ferry on October 17th. The whale, whose tail fin can be seen here with a large gash, was spotted on Monday not far from where the collision was recorded in English Bay.
Seen in roughly the same, very close to the location that the ferry reported having made contact with the whale. You know, this whale did not have that a few days before, so...
Fisheries and Oceans Canada now confirms it is the same whale, and given the seriousness of that injury, it will be important to monitor its health. Adelsheim says they have seen whales with severe injuries before and hopes this one will recover. Vancouver's cruise ship season saw an 11% drop compared to last year. The Port of Vancouver says geopolitical tensions played a role.
I think this year we had a lot of issues, complexities around the world with travel, tourism, what's happening with the southern partners, I would say, that played. But overall, I think the occupancy rates were still very high on the cruise ship.
Madawal says he expects a record-breaking number next year, though, as more cruise lines come to the city. Well, a massive proposal by Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim to create a private company to build rental housing is not going forward. Council did not approve a motion by staff to create what's called the Vancouver Lands Development Corporation. It is a big political loss for the mayor. Joining us is our municipal affairs reporter, Justin McElroy. Justin, Ken Sim has a majority with ABC on council. Why was this rejected?
Yeah, this was an interesting one, Dan, and it stems because of what this vote needed to be passed. Not a majority, like most things on council, but because it involved selling city land to a new corporation, it required a 2/3 vote under the Vancouver Charter. Anytime you'd have to sell city land, you need that 66% approval. And in this case, because ABC has 7 people on council and there's 4 opposition members, they needed to get 1 opposition councillor to approve their big idea on this, which the city claimed could create 4,000 units of market rental housing. And ultimately, you can see them right there where those projects were going to be. 6 different sites were going to be sold off if this went through, but it didn't because they couldn't get any opposition councillors, many of whom argued that there was politicization of this coming up now.
The real imperative here is political. This is the Mayor's Budget Task Force. This is an election year. This is all the things. It's trying to deliver on a big, sexy, let's lower taxes, let's make money, let's run the city like a business. All these incremental moves to running the city like a business are actually harming our city and our residents.
Of course, Sim didn't see it that way, and he accused the opposition councillors who voted against the motion of their own politics.
And we talk about housing, but every time we come up with a solution, we are going to fight it, not because of these ideas or great ideas that have been proven before, but because the other side has basically promoted it. It is disappointing that this incredible project is being politicized right now.
Can you tell there's an election year way, Dan?
Indeed. How would this have actually worked? And to clarify, is this suggestion of a corporation actually dead?
Yeah, it's interesting. And this is a model that Sim has been talked about for a while. And he's compared it many times to what happens at UBC, where they have their own separate private company that UBC fully owns called Properties Trust. And their job is to develop lands for private housing. So ultimately, the private company would be fully owned by the city. They would own the land. They would then develop this housing that others would live in rentals. And the proceeds from those developments would go back to the city government. City staff said that it was higher risk than what they traditionally do, but it would be higher reward because of the money that could be generated. Of course, this gets voted down for now. Could come back up, but you need that 2/3 vote, and it's not on council at the moment.
All right, Justin McElroy, thanks very much. 'Tis the season. There is a spooky story about a BC small town, 44 kilometers from Kelowna, as the crow flies. Falkland is said to be home to 2 haunted buildings. The scary lore has inspired the townsfolk to create a popular community event. It's called The Haunting of Falkland. Let's have a look.
You get a lot of paranormal activity that happens in this cabin. This is huge for our town. Falkland has a population of roughly 900. The Haunting of Falkland gets about 3,000 to 5,000. People come from all over. They come from Kamloops, Kelowna, Vernon, Armstrong. We even get people coming up from the coast. I've had even people come from Alberta. Come on into our hunt. My name is Dana Deglin, and I am one of the event organizers for the Haunting of Falkland. So this is our uneven floor. It squishes when you step on it, and it is just made from wood, foam, and rope. This is actually craft paper that we have crunched up and stapled to our walls. Beef netting that's been cut up and stretched. This horse is made from chicken wire, paper mache. I have loved Halloween my whole life, and being able to also contribute to the community and try and bring some attention to Falkland and raise some money for local groups is amazing. All of our actors are volunteer. Their job is to scare people, jump out, or gross them out. And each room has at least 1 actor. They get very excited about it and come back year after year.
People get legitimately scared. It's pretty amazing. Halloween's my favorite time of year. It's kind of my Christmas. My name is Matthew Hannigan, and I'm part of The Hunt, which is a feature in The Haunting of Falkland. I have a soft spot for Halloween, so to me, an event like this is really special. It kind of brings surrounding communities and people together, even though it's such a niche thing like Halloween. So it's pretty special to be a part of, because it's a little bigger than yourself, but it's also just something that really kind of brings a bond about other people as well.
Sure is Halloween, Darius Madavi. But here's a look at the weather first.
That's right. Too soon to say what's going to happen on Halloween, but I can tell you that for the next week or 2, we are looking pretty wet. All that moisture that's going to be feeding into BC. Now, there is a wind warning in place for Haida Gwaii because of all that storm that storm energy that's coming in there. You can see that cloud really starting to build in on the coast. Winds gusting up to 90 kilometers per hour, except in exposed sections of the coast could be up to 110. Those strong winds will make their way down to the south coast by the end of the work week. But Dan, overall, that rain arrives tomorrow and it's here to stay.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll take a look at the longtime deal maker called in to try to end BC's latest public sector strike. We are now into week 8 of the BCGEU strike that has thousands of government employees walking picket lines. But a familiar face has been called in to try to find a deal. Vince Reddy. He's been a labor mediator for 60 years, asked time and time again to end the stickiest of impasses. So why does he keep getting the call? The CBC's Liam Britton spoke with our Leanne Young about the veteran deal maker.
So, Liam, first of all, who is Vince Reddy?
Yeah, Vince Reddy, definitely a name that's come up in our coverage many times over the decades, but he's a labor mediator, and that's kind of exactly what it sounds like. He'll get the parties, he'll talk to the parties, get them together, maybe talk to them separately. He'll be a go-between, maybe outline kind of red lines for each other, restate their kind of positions, and basically try and get these sides to a place, to an agreement that they can live with. But what's really notable about Vince Reddy is just how prolific he's been in his 60 years of doing this work. His website counts 7,000 disputes he's been involved with, including some pretty notable ones in Canadian labor history. The Solidarity protests in 1983, the Giant Mine strike in 1992, which turned deadly, and here in BC, the multiple transit strikes, including the one in Vancouver in 2001, and the ones, actually just last month in the Cowichan Valley, he was negotiating an end to the 7-month strike there. So he's at it again with his colleague Amanda Rogers to try and get an end to this BCGEU strike.
And, you know, plenty of other mediators out there, but why is it always him? You know, I think he's
Why
been
is he the
called...
guy?
Why is he the guy? The Wayne Gretzky of labor mediators, the Babe Ruth, this is what he's been called. Why?
The Social Credit Party called him someone who can almost work miracles. Yeah, he's prolific. Success breeds success, I guess you could say. But what I felt was really interesting was, you know, I'm talking to labor voices, business voices, former politicians from all parties. There's no one who will say a bad word about this guy. You'd think in 60 years, someone would hate his guts at this point, you know? But, you know, I heard a bit about his approach. He knows when to back off when that's required. He knows when to lay down the law when that's required. He'll step away if he thinks the parties are too far apart. I spoke to former Liberal Education Minister Peter Fassbender, who interacted with Reddy during the 2014 teacher strike. Have a listen.
Vince gets the call because he is a consummate mediator. He knows the issues, he gets rid of the fluff, and really gets down to what is the core of the challenges in any negotiations. And that's what I really always appreciated about him.
And then on the other side of the aisle, I spoke to a former NDP Labour Minister, Harry Baines, who counted on Reddy multiple times. I asked him why that was.
There are some really good mediators out there, but you know, they need to get to the level that Vince has created for himself, for the trust, knowing that he is straightforward, honest, and his creativity is unmatched.
And so a big thing seems to be the respect. He commands respect from labor, from business, from governments of all stripes, and we'll see if that's enough to get an end to this BCGEU strike, Leanne.
More brands of pistachio products are being recalled in BC and Alberta, stemming from a months-long national investigation linking those nuts to salmonella. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency's expanded recall now includes lime saffron roasted pistachios sold by Shiraz Farm Market on Clark Road and Nicola Avenue in Coquitlam. Pega brand salted pistachios sold in 1-pound bags with lot number 2725 and 2925. Pega brand saffron lemon pistachios sold with lot number 1825. And Vicinity Mart's saffron roasted pistachios also sold in 1-pound bags online. More than 100 cases of salmonella have now been confirmed in Canada. It was a cloudy kind of morning in downtown Vancouver. Darius will be here with your BC-wide weather coming up next.
I'm Stephen Quinn, and I love living here in Vancouver, BC. It's a city with world-renowned beauty, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In our new daily podcast, This is Vancouver, we're exploring the diverse range of issues and stories in this city, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as told by the people who live it every day. Don't miss This is Vancouver, available wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll talk to you.
Metro Vancouver's condo market continues to soften as sales decline, projects are stalling, and developers hitting pause. The Greater Vancouver Realtors Housing Market Report says the current market continues to favor buyers. The benchmark price of an apartment was $728,800 in September, a 4.4% drop from September 2024, and a 0.8% drop compared to August. For more, we're joined now by Anthony Zhang. He's a mortgage strategist with An Plus Clear Trust Mortgages. Anthony, what are you seeing right now?
Dan, thanks for having me. Basically now, the condo market is historically high on active listing. So basically now it's a 7,000 active listing comparing with last year. Even the further year is only 4,000 in 2023. So basically the supply side is still in pressures, and we feel like pricing will be still under pressures on it.
Now, when it comes to supply, are we talking mostly about one room, two bedroom places? Like what's the size that's just flooded the market?
Basically, it's different size. There's plenty of 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom, and also ultra luxuries coming to the listing. And then the main pressures coming from is the new constructions that are actually up to completion. And then some sellers are very anxious to sell. And then there's just put up a lot of supplies coming from the new construction. And then we see that more 1 bedrooms are coming, even some minor condos are actually coming to the markets. And right now it's just different types of supplies flowing into the markets for sale.
Now, with this rate cut from the Bank of Canada and some lowering prices in some areas, what are you seeing from prospective buyers if it is indeed a buyer's market?
Indeed, it's a very buyer market, but buyer is also slow because when buyers seeing the markets, they have some uncertainty they're facing. They are not sure about the economy. They're not sure about the immigration policy. There's so many stuff that they feel there's some uncertainty in the future. So because buying house is one of the largest investment for many people. So right now there's so many buyers actually looking into the market, but that's nothing actually pushing them for the transaction. So the rate cut does actually help because it actually helped the buyer to qualify, easier to qualify the mortgage to enter the market. But we definitely need some certainties in the market to push the buyer to come up with a transaction.
All right, Anthony Zhang, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and your analysis as well.
Thank you for having me.
Now, facing job cuts, changes in vaccine policy, and immigration raids, some U.S. healthcare workers have made the dramatic move north. Dozens have already arrived in BC, with the province actively recruiting them. Lindsay Duncombe introduces us to some early additions to Canada's healthcare brain gain.
Right here, and then make a right.
It's Brandy Fry's first day of work in the emergency room at Nanaimo General Hospital.
I'm so excited to be here. So relieved.
She's a nurse. She left the United States to escape Donald Trump.
Good morning, Brandy.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Oh,
So, how are you feeling?
I'm nervous, but I'm ready.
What are the things that you're worried about?
That I'll be too pushy, or that I'll be too friendly, or I'll be too
American?
Too American. Yeah, I want to get the Canadian accent down. You know, I want to belong here.
So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
In the months since Trump was elected, much has changed for American healthcare workers.
We are the sickest country in the world.
Job cuts, changes in vaccine policy, and fear for many of delivering care in the face of immigration raids.
If you want to care for others in a place that cares about you, come to BC.
The government of British Columbia, desperate for doctors and nurses, has targeted unhappy Americans with ads like this. Even taking a food truck to hospitals in the Pacific Northwest, free snacks with a side of opportunity.
The province of British Columbia says more than 140 American doctors, nurses, and nurse practitioners have accepted offers to work here, and it expects that number to grow.
Trump came into office, it was like everything turned just so vulgar and ugly. See here what this is.
Brandy Fry is among the first of the healthcare workers to make the move. She'd been working at the same hospital outside Los Angeles for 18 years.
I've worked in labor and delivery, I've worked in the emergency department, in trauma, and then I've done open hearts. Okay. So all my little boys.
She's 55.
These are the boys now.
She left behind 3 grown children, a granddaughter, and a big house.
So I'm going to be gone from 6:30.
But she's a Democrat and a single mom. When she saw a posting about jobs in Canada on LinkedIn,
what did you guys practice today?
It was her 13-year-old son she was thinking about.
And I just felt like we were headed the wrong way, for sure. And I started looking at my son, Bruce. I didn't want him to have to grow up in a world where there was just such a narrow perspective.
So you hear about the opportunities for nurses in Canada.
Yes.
What was your reaction when you saw that post?
That's it. That's where I'm going. Canada. I'm going to be a Canadian, you know, and get the man. Elbows up.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd. We've been watching the news. We know it's getting worse down there.
It's not just government recruiting healthcare workers.
Our kids dodge homework, not live rounds. Our healthcare's not barbarian. We are the very model of the modern-day Canadian.
Former CBC radio host Todd Maffin is leading a grassroots campaign to bring more healthcare workers to Nanaimo.
It really is the community has come together to just give these people advice.
A lot of people in Canada are liking becoming our beautiful, cherished 51st state.
Several months ago, when Donald Trump began threatening to annex Canada, and Canadians responded by canceling trips and buying local, Maffin had an idea. He invited American neighbors north in a show of cross-border solidarity.
I had thought that for them coming up, it would just be kind of a fun weekend. They'd eat some Nanaimo bars, they'd want to see plane, they'd look at some whales, they'd go home. But it was clear that it was much more meaningful for a lot of them. Some of them came up and hugged me or my wife and wept. They were so moved by the opportunity to see that there was a safe place for them and their family to go to in a way that could also help Canada.
So he and his wife set up an online community for Canada-curious healthcare workers.
And it's now busy. There are 1,200 people, mostly American healthcare workers in there. Nurses, phlebotomists, doctors, surgeons, all grouped into different categories, all looking at different regions. If you are an American healthcare worker and you've been thinking about moving to Canada...
One of Maffin's TikTok videos caught the attention of Henrietta Addo.
And I was like, okay, this is kind of cute. And it said, for physicians and nurses, if you're interested, contact this recruiter.
At the time, Addo was analyzing hospital data in Michigan, and she was worried about losing her job as the Trump administration cut diversity, equity, and inclusion programs.
And seeing as I was the only Black person in my role, it was like, okay, if they start making cuts, will you be it? You know, and I was like the newest hire from like 2 years ago. Will you be it?
Did you feel more vulnerable because you're Black?
1,000%. 1,000%. I'm excited. It's a new adventure, a new learning.
The paperwork took 5 months. Then Addo and her boyfriend drove across the country to her new home by the ocean and a job in the emergency room at Nanaimo General. She says she feels welcome.
I think as we're here, we're seeing more and more Black people, and it's great, but I haven't had any uncomfortable situations here. People see you, they ask you where you're from, and they get excited that you're here. So it's just kind of been, I feel like an ordinary person here, really.
Both Addo and Fry expect the work will be challenging. Nanaimo has a busy ER. It's a trauma center. There's an opioid crisis, and there aren't enough nurses.
I've gotten calls every single day from their automated AI system. Here's some shifts. Would you like some shifts? Would you like to work some shifts? We've got some shifts for you. I'm like,
You haven't even started yet.
No, I haven't started yet.
Do you think Canada can live up to your high expectations?
I think it already has. Just look at, I mean, the people have been so welcoming. People, every time they find out I'm a nurse, they're like, thank you so much.
Even before her first day, she got this thank you card at the hospital.
The very best to you and your beautiful son.
It's from someone in Toronto who saw her post online about moving to Canada.
Really moved me, actually.
Fry's first day went well.
Hey, Brandy, how was it?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was really awesome. I really enjoyed the staff and felt really welcoming, and it's great.
You must be tired.
Kind of exhausted mentally, yeah.
Tired, but confident she made the right choice to leave the United States.
It just solidifies that this is where I belong. Feels good. Feels really good.
One day down, a whole new life to go.
Lindsay Duncombe reporting. Canada's Auditor General's report says people are waiting too long on the phone when calling the Canada Revenue Agency and were often offered inaccurate information. It also flagged failings around military recruitment and housing. David Thurton has the details from Ottawa.
The Canada Revenue Agency usually does the auditing, but not today.
We are here to discuss the findings.
Canada's Auditor General released a report on Revenue Canada.
There's probably not an MP in the legislature that hasn't received calls about the slowness at CRA.
Why should Canadians tolerate this unacceptable service?
The audit found Canadians are waiting far too long on the phone. In June, only 5% of calls met the agency's 15-minute service standard. When callers get through, some receive wrong information.
They should expect that the Canada Revenue Agency will be available in a timely fashion and provide them with accurate information. And what we're seeing is that is not the case.
What is CRA going to do to fix it? And
Liberal ministers say they're working on solutions.
It's been very, very clear that the service levels have not been where they should be. So we have instituted a 100-day plan.
The Auditor General also released reports on the state of the military, one on recruitment, the other on housing. Both, she said, are linked.
The Canadian Armed Forces isn't recruiting enough members, and then they don't have enough housing for them. So this is going to impact retention.
According to one report, thousands apply annually, but only 1 in 15 progress. Also, the military is not tracking why potential applicants abandon their applications. Those that make it through find not enough housing and poor conditions, something this veteran and MP has raised.
Troops that are living in barracks, they're finding that they don't have hot water, mold, mice, rats, unsafe electrical equipment.
This is long overdue. For decades now.
The defense minister says the new Liberal government is looking at ways to accelerate military housing retrofits, saying overall, previous governments have underinvested in the Canadian Armed Forces. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
A memoir by one of the most outspoken accusers of Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew is now out. Virginia Giuffre's book is being published posthumously 6 months after her death. It's already hitting some bestseller lists, adding to the public pressure on the royal family and the British government to act. More now from Chris Brown.
It's a 30-room mansion a disgraced prince can still afford. British media wondering how Andrew could pay for it without the salary of a working royal discovered his rent is actually minuscule because he paid up front for the lease years ago. But his lavish lifestyle is an ongoing embarrassment to the royal family and in stark contrast to the hardships revealed by his accuser, Virginia Giuffre, in her memoir. It was published Tuesday, 6 months after she died by suicide.
Very powerful in that it's from the grave with so many damaging allegations about Andrew.
Giuffre, who says she met Andrew when she was 17, alleges she had sex with him 3 times, including on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's island, and that she feared she would die a sex slave.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady.
While Andrew has denied the accusations, this royal correspondent says Giuffre hoped her book would compel Andrew to share everything he knows about Epstein.
Virginia Giuffre made it clear that she wanted him to own this story, to own the narrative, and to be upfront about it. And of course, he hasn't been.
The pressure is also intensifying on King Charles. He's set to meet the Pope this week, and the pair will pray at the Sistine Chapel, the first time a reigning monarch has done that in 500 years. But Andrew's controversies are threatening to overshadow the moment. On Friday, Andrew announced he would voluntarily no longer use royal titles, such as the Duke of York. But some feel there should have been more from the king.
So it should have been far more ruthless about the whole thing.
British parliamentarians are being urged to take action against Andrew too, to look into his mansion lease and possibly to formally strip him of his royal titles. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance says the fragile ceasefire in Gaza is going better than expected. He is in Israel with other American envoys to shore up that U.S.-led peace deal after fighting broke out over the weekend. As Crystal Gumansing explains, this comes as Israel says Hamas has handed over the remains of 2 more hostages to the Red Cross.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance struck an optimistic tone, saying that he believes there is a very good chance of long-term peace holding in Gaza, saying that the way to peace is to focus on the future. He was surrounded by the flags of different nations at that press briefing and said there is a lot of interest in being part of the international security force. It is not set up yet, but he said that it will be critical ensuring peace in the long term for Gaza and for Palestinians.
If we get from where we were a week ago to a long-term, durable peace between Israel and Gaza, there are going to be hills and valleys. There are going to be moments where it looks like things aren't going particularly well. But given that, and given the history of conflict, I think that everybody should be proud of where we are today. It's going to require constant effort. It's going to require constant monitoring and supervision.
Now, he made a point of saying Hamas has to disarm and, quote, behave, and if it doesn't, very bad things will happen. As for the future of Gaza, we heard from the U.S. president's son-in-law and advisor, Jared Kushner. He said that there are good things in the works for Palestinians.
Everyone believes that it is possible to create something better in Gaza, and we have to believe it. We have to work hard for it. And if we all work hard to do that, then I do believe a great outcome is possible.
Whether or not there will be future violations of the ceasefire and the peace agreement, well, Vice President Vance said that there will be peaks and valleys, and that's to be expected, but he feels all sides are committed to the ceasefire and long-term peace. Crystal Gumansing, CBC News, Jerusalem.
A 3-run homer sends the Blue Jays to the World Series. More on the Game 7 winning drama and a look ahead after this. All right, as sports go, it could not have been bigger or more exciting. Fans across Canada have been buzzing after the Toronto Blue Jays clinched the American League Championship Monday night, taking them to the World Series. A come-from-behind win, thanks in large part to a mammoth home run late in the game. More now from Jamie Strachan.
Down 3-1 in the 7th inning, the end of a magical season appeared imminent. But with 2 base runners on, enter George Springer.
He's in a position to tie the game up and possibly send this Blue Jays crowd into a frenzy.
He did more than tie it.
And a swing and a fly ball to left field. Back goes Rosarena. She's gone!
The 381-foot blast set off a sustained frenzy.
So happy for everybody here, our fans, our city, our country. This is for them.
As the ball cleared the wall, the Jays' dugout erupted like little leaguers.
And you see players and coaches reacting the way they did, kind of surreal in the moment when you're witnessing a historic swing for the organization.
In the stands, Michael Angeletti saw the ball soaring towards his seat in the left field bleachers.
My baseball-savvy seatmates, who I didn't know because I went to the game solo, they instantly were tracking the ball. I was watching them track it. That gave me a minute to half put on my glove.
When the ball finally landed, chaos. The Springer dinger instantly part of Blue Jay lore, alongside Roberto Alomar's homer in 1992.
And this game is tied. 1-1 for Tyson.
Jose Batista's bat flip in 2015. And of course, Joe Carter's 1993 World Series winner.
Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
I can only say one thing to George Springer. Welcome to the 3-run homer club.
This one propelling the Jays back into the World Series for the first time since Joe touched them all.
He's been doing it his whole life, and nothing bigger than that one right there.
Jamie.
The weather update is brought to you by BC Cancer Foundation. Give today to bring more progress and possibilities to patients and their families. Your donation changes everything.
Darius Madavi here with the BC Wide Weather Forecast. But just before that, you were watching the game, right?
I was.
Ooh, that was
what a
sweet,
moment.
That was great.
Incredible.
Springer dinger.
Yeah.
Good on him after he took a fast pitch off the knee in about 2 games before.
Insane.
Yeah,
and
very good.
Great name.
Yeah. Oh,
great name for the play.
Yeah. Put it on a T-shirt.
Yeah, as somebody who's not like super into sports generally, it's just one of those moments where everybody gets so into it that you can be swept up in it.
Go sports!
Yeah, I was at Jurassic Park for game 6 when the Raptors won the finals. Oh, it's crazy.
Magical.
Yeah, amazing.
Lucky man.
All right, let's talk about the weather. Also exciting, not as much in a good way. We got a wind warning in place for Haida Gwaii. Winds there consistently up to 70, gusting up to 90 tonight, and then exposed coastal sections could see up to 110, Environment Canada says. That's part of this large system that's been rolling in to the BC coast. We're going to see those strong winds start to make their way down the coast and reach us here in southern BC as we get into the end of the week. Thursday and Friday, looking like they're going to be gusty here on the south coast. You can see some of those strong winds heading towards the north coast there as well. And then that next wave comes down and mostly affects the more southern areas. Again, once we get into Thursday and Friday, expect if you're on the east coast of Vancouver Island, pretty much the entirety of Vancouver Island, or here on the lower mainland, you're going to see some of those strong winds if you're by the water. In terms of precipitation, that is also pretty intense as we head into the rest of the work week. Areas on the north coast as well as the west coast of Vancouver Island, totals easily in excess of 100 millimeters once we get into the end of the day Thursday. So pretty significant, and there is more rain expected from Friday and into the weekend. So totals throughout this week are going to be pretty high. We have, in most places, been below average in terms of precipitation across BC in most areas. So this should help out with that. But you'll notice Vancouver not looking at anything too crazy. Maybe we'll see some more precipitation move into this area in particular once we get into the weekend. But through Friday, through Thursday, not expecting to see too much. I've been showing this. I probably don't need to show this too much anymore because I think we get the picture. But Lots of snow coming to the mountains still. Freezing levels remain low, if anything coming down a little bit. Temperatures across the province, though, for the most part, stay pretty consistent over the next few days, so I'm not going to bother to show that. We just look at these highs and, give or take a couple degrees, we should be staying pretty much around there. And here's our 5-day forecast, Dan. We've got clouding up tomorrow morning, and then the showers start in the afternoon, and then we got rain coming in and out throughout the week.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
A marvel of what the human brain and a bit of a passion can do. A 65-year-old Parkinson's patient plays her clarinet during brain surgery to keep her skills sharp. More on this incredible performance next.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
Join CBC's Leanne Young at the Alumni UBC Achievement Awards, November 6th. The event honors members of the UBC community through their endeavors and commitment to help shape a better world. And the Chutzpah Festival returns November 12th to 23rd with an exciting lineup of performances, including dance, music, theater, and more. For tickets, visit chutzpahfestival.com.
Here's an incredible musical performance to show you. A British woman with Parkinson's disease plays during an operation on her brain. Denise Bacon was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2014. It's affected her ability to walk, swim, and play her clarinet.
So doctors at King's College in London carried out a 4-hour operation to try to improve her mobility. Bacon's main goal is to be able to play music again. She says the procedure has allowed her to move her hands more easily, and she's delighted to be able to play her instrument again after surgery as well. Nothing like scales during open brain surgery.
That was incredible.
Wasn't that incredible?
Wow.
And there are no pain receptors in the brain. That's how they're able to do that?
They need to have you conscious during brain surgery because if something goes wrong, it goes very wrong. So they need to know immediately.
Gotcha.
But you don't feel it.
There we are.
You're frozen is not the right word.
Now you know.
Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, YouTube, and our website.
And we will have your next local news at 11 o'clock, right after the National. Good night.